Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel and welcome back to another video. So today's video is going to be a budget update, kind of, hey, we got some money in and what are we going to do with that money? But I also need to tell you guys about something that I forgot to put on my budget sheet, actually on my sinking funds. And I don't know why it just doesn't correlate for me sometimes to think about this, but I've got to make some changes. All right, so most of you guys who have been following me for a long time know that my children homeschool. And if you're new around here, hey y'all, how y'all doing? So my children do homeschool. And because they homeschool, we have to figure out curriculum. So it's up to me to either decide I'm going to pull together curriculum, which I did in the very first couple of years, or if I'm going to purchase curriculum, which is what I have done in the previous 4 years. 4 years, right? So when Jackson first started, I pulled his curriculum all the way until he got to the 3rd grade because the computer program that Alana uses starts in 3rd grade. But I also had pulled some supplemental material, and any of their electives have also been pulled as well. So when Jackson moved to 3rd grade, when he got into 3rd grade, I was able to then put him on the computer as well. Now, the benefits of having the computer program is it grades for me, it auto grades. I do one big setup at the very beginning of the school year. I set up their school because each kid is their own school. I set their grading thresholds and criteria. I set the days that they have school. I set holidays. I do all of that on my very first initial setup of their school year. They are on semester-long courses, so I'll do half their curriculum for September through December, and I'll do the other half January through May. Once I do that, I'm pretty much hands off. There are a couple of little teacher grade things that I have to go in and check. It's not that much comparative to the whole grand scheme of their school, and that works for my schedule. Being a single mom that's working full time, that's in ministry, that is before the shutdown, driving them to Taekwondo 4 nights a week, and then tournaments and all the things. I mean, Taekwondo has been our life for the past 6 years, or however long Jackson's been doing. Jackson is 11, 6 years. So it's been our life for the last 6 years, and it is a lot. So that has just worked for us. So with that being said, I have to pay for their curriculum, and I'm looking at about $400 to $500 each kid. Now, once I buy their curriculum the first time, that's all I have to buy, load it onto their computers, and we're good for the year. So here's what I didn't do. I didn't put that in my sinking funds so that I could be saving up for it all year long. I'm making an adjustment to my budget so that when I go into the next school year, when I'm in June 2021, I will already have the money, or the majority of their money. So if I'm looking at 2 kids, $450, $500, I'm going to back it down and be on the lower end and say about $400 each kid. That's $800. There is also an elective English class that I am looking at for Alana. That's an extra $350. So if I add in everything, that is $1,150 that I have to come up with by September 1st. Actually, August 31st, because we start school right after Labor Day. So I've got to make some decisions and choices. That gives me pretty much 2 weeks of June, 4 weeks of July, and 4 weeks of August. So that's 4, 8, 10 weeks to come up with $1,100. That's about $100 a week. And with Dad sending in child support, because see, now I'm getting ready to go into my season of no paychecks. I get no paycheck at the end of June. I get no paycheck at the end of July. No regular paycheck. I have monies that I have set aside every month. I have the credit union, which is where I bank. credit union pull out a certain amount of money. And then some people say, well, why don't you have them pull out more money, so you can have more money in the summer? If I pull out more money each month, I'll have less money during the months to do what I need to do. So this is what I can do in my summer months and still be able to pay what needs to be paid. So I'm not changing that amount. I'm just going to work on my sinking funds and be able to figure out where I need to prioritize. I had like holiday baking. Listen, I can bake one thing and be okay. Add that into my grocery budget because I probably can get some coupons from somewhere on something, or maybe I'll shop sales, or I'll start getting my store cupboard all put together before holidays, and then I have what I need on hand. Buy it in bulk or however I need to do it. But I've got to be able to shave some of those sinking funds so that I am able to account for the curriculum in my sinking funds. And so, as you know, those of you who have been watching me since January, I actually have just been now doing sinking funds using any YouTube AdSense income that comes in is what I use for sinking funds. So I'm going to go back and reevaluate some of those sinking funds, and I'm going to share that process with you guys. The kids did get a kids deposit this morning. And so I am going to be allocating their funds. There's one thing that came up, Father's Day. Now, normally I am hands off with that department. We just don't co-mix anything. He doesn't make sure they buy me anything for Mother's Day. I don't make sure they buy him anything for Mother's Day. We just don't. I used to do that, and then I just took my hands off. But Alana wants to get something for Dad for Father's Day. Usually they have the older kids help them with those little project things, and they all are usually okay with it. This time, though, she wanted to do it herself, and so she had a $40 gift card to Target, and we didn't see anything in Target, so I told her she could order on Amazon, and Mom would just take care of it, no problem, because she had already used her Amazon gift card. So we're going to look to see what I can, not what I can buy, but what they pick out. And then I'll just pay for it and we'll have it shipped to his place, no problem. So that's coming out of this week. The kids will get their savings money. That's coming out of this week. And then whatever is left, if there's not anything else that needs to be done, will go for kids' curriculum. So I will spend the next couple of whatever kids' deposits come in, pulling in those funds. In addition, I have a friend that is really, really, really good on eBay, and I have a ton of stuff that I need to list. So we've already sent a message to say, hey, when can you come over and help us with this, getting it? He knows how to list it and take the pictures. I mean, I have done it before, but he's just excellent at it. So I'm going to get him to help me and Jackson put all of our stuff on eBay that we can, and any money that comes in from eBay sales, we will use that for curriculum as well, which is what I normally do every summer. I just don't want to get into the habit of waiting until the summer to try to prep for it. So again, we talked about the mind and how your mind helps you make those decisions. It's just something that I wasn't thinking about for last year, but now that I'm thinking about it, it's going on the list for sinking funds. And so that will give me from June, because I think I will get some YouTube payment this month. It won't be as much as last month, but I do think I'll get something. So June through all the way to next June will give me some monies to be able to put towards curriculum. Of course, for this first 3 months, that's going to go for this next upcoming year. And then we'll start from September 2020 to August 2021 for the next year's curriculum. So I hope that made sense. But anyway, I'm going to show you how I am budgeting out these funds and then how we're going to update our sinking funds sheet. All right, let's talk a little bit about what came in. So the deposit was for $216.46, which is, what they normally have. So we're going to look at $216.46. Now I'm going to make a few adjustments because I've got to, pay things. So I'm going to subtract the 22, which that's usually my tithe. Now we tithe off of every dime that comes in this house, every penny, nickel, quarter. If it comes in, the Lord gets a share. That's just my belief system. I'm not putting that off on anybody else. That's just how we do it. Then I'm going to take out $50 for the kids for their savings accounts. That's going to give them $144.46. Now, Alana wanted to spend about $20 on her dad, so I'm going to do 20 for Amazon. That's for kids savings. And this is for Father's Day. Now, remember, this is not something I normally do, but I told her I'd do it, no problem. And that leaves $124.46. Now, with this money, there's nothing else I need to do. I don't need extra groceries. I don't need extra gas. I don't need extra anything. Sometimes there might be a grocery item or two I need to get, or the kids might ask for something that I didn't get them previous and I need to get it now. But I don't have any other needs. So what I am going to do is I'm going to put this money towards curriculum. Now, their curriculum is going to be, I'm going to count between $800 and $1,150. And I'm going to say, let me see, if I do 800 and I divide that by 10 weeks, I need to save about $80 a week. So 800 for 10 weeks is $80 a week. If I do 1,150 divided by 10 weeks, it's going to be about $115 a week. I'm still trying to determine if that extra class is something that I need to do for the kid. It's just for Alana. And she would actually be in Zoom classes, and she would actually have a teacher. I will need to determine if that is a good move for us or not. Definitely not going to stress over it because it's an extra class. She doesn't have to take it, but there's no grading for me. She will get its literature, composition, grammar. It's some things that she might need as an 11th grade. But I'm thinking maybe I can push it to her senior year and just let that be her English period. I'm trying to weigh that out. I'm not so much concerned about the price because I think we'll be able to figure it all out here. But I'm trying to think, is she ready for that type of level? Is that, because sometimes she needs a little bit extra support. So I'm trying to make that choice. So right now I'm looking at about $80 a week. Well, I've superseded that amount at $124.46. So I'm over that by about $60, and I still have to just figure out over the next 9 weeks now the rest to get to the 800. It may not be 800. It may be a little over, just depending. Now, the reason I say depending is because I buy their curriculum used. I buy it secondhand. And the reason I'm okay doing that is when you think about it like this. Textbooks are written, right? If you're in college, say you're in college and they tell you what textbook you need. You buy the book, you go to sell it. I mean, you pay $350 for the book to begin with. You go to sell it back and they give you $5 because somebody else has decided they're not using that next year. They don't like this textbook. They're going to use something else. Or you go back and they say, oh, sure, we'll give you $80 for it because the professor likes it. He wants to use it again. So textbooks are pretty much, they're published this year. You might use them 1 year. You might use them 10 years. And it's okay. So what I'm doing is saying I'm okay with the kids using a curriculum that's not 2020. I get that. I don't want them to use something that's 2001, but I'm okay if it's 15, 14, just that curriculum when it was produced, because that's just the reality of it. And then I can pull in resources as I need to as a support. But I do want to go in and update my sinking funds and kind of share a little bit about how I'm doing that, as well as updating the budget sheet for this week. All right, so here's my budget sheet again. So I'm going to the kids' deposits. I'm looking right here at $513.10, right? So I've got to put in my new deposit of $216.46. So that's going to make that $729.56. So I'm going to change that. Then, of course, I'm going to go in and add in that comment that tells me on 6 17, there was a deposit of $216.46. And so that's what I'm dealing with now. And then I'm going to go to the week of the 14th through the 20th. And now I'm looking at, it's a Wednesday, what do I need to pay? So I'm going to scroll down. This is just my process. You can just do it however you like, but I already know what I have to do. All right, so I already know how I like to do this, so I'm just going to scroll down where you guys can kind of see a little better. Okay, so I know that I'm doing 22 for tithes, right? I know that's what's happening there. And then I'm going back up to where it says Kids Miscellaneous, because I do their $50, and that's going to be their savings accounts. All right, and then I'm going to do $20 for Father's Day. So I'm going to find my Amazon, because I have one up here that says Amazon. There we go. And I'm just going to say 20. It may not be 20. It may end up being a little bit less. I think it was a little less, but I'm going to budget for that amount. And it's going to be a Father's Day gift. And I'm just going to say that's coming from Amazon to be shipped. All right, and then I'm left with $124.46. So I'm going to scroll down. And I'm just going to put, I don't want to say gifts because it's not a gift. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to go back up here to another, where this says other here, and I'm going to put homeschool curriculum. And I'm going to put $124.46. So that should take me back out to have using all that money that I got this week. And then back to my main budget sheet, I'll see here that I have a total of $3,764.51. And if I scroll all the way down, I have spent $3,739.87, leaving me with that same $24.64 that I like to keep in the account, just in case. Now, I'm going to scroll over to where I have my sinking funds and make some adjustments. All right, so here are my sinking funds, and I'm going to look at this because there are a couple things that I need to take into account. I just paid for Ma'am to get all of her shots and those types of things, so I am going to have to get her some dog meds. Have to get that because she's actually out of her heart guard. This was the last month I had. But I'm going to budget that in. I'm going to change this number. She needs heart guard once a month, and I can get that for $39, $40. So to get it twice for the year would be $80. And then she needs her next guard at $120 a year. So I'm going to make this number $220. Maybe let me make that an even $300 because she has to get shots next year. Keeping everything there the same. House projects, I'm going to keep everything there the same. Dishwasher, I no longer have a need for that fund. So I'm going to change that. And I'm going to make this say homeschool curriculum. All right, I don't have any money in that fund yet, but I'm going to need about $11.50. And then some of the other categories there that I have are perfectly fine to stay there. I know I have $0 in that account. I know I have $0 in that account. Well, nope. so far, I just put $124.46 in that account. Thanksgiving, I don't have any money there. Christmas, I have no money yet. All right. So I've gone in and made adjustments to some of these sinking funds. And now I should be pretty good to have all the funds that I need in there. Now, if I need to change some things, I can always go back and change anything that I have. Okay, I have no money in dog meds right now. Perfectly fine. But I do have all of my sinking funds in there. And then I know I'm going to need to cover everything. I'm going to need right at over $5,000 to cover all of my sinking funds for the year. So if I go down and look, this is how much I'm going to need for the year. And this is how much I have so far, about $339 in my sinking fund account between all the funds that I have into that one account. So I'm using the one sinking fund account method where I'm keeping everything in one account and then just tracking what monies I have in that account for which particular fund it is. And then here are my savings funds. So I want to bring your attention to this baby step number 3. So I was at a place this week and the Lord spoke very specifically to me and he told me to give. And he told me to give a very specific amount. So I, in faith, sowed that amount just to an individual for a particular thing that they had a need of. And I just told the Lord, I said, I'm trusting you to give it back to my family, just like you always have. But that changed the bottom line of my baby step number 3. So and this is the largest gift that I've ever given at one time. And it was for a particular need that needed to be met. And I was obedient and I did it. And so I gave a $2,400. It was a sacrifice. It wasn't something that I had thought about. It wasn't anything that I knew about going in ahead of time. But the Lord said, do it. And I was obedient to it. I have not received it back yet, but I am in full faith that God is going to do it. So that does take my bottom line for baby step number 3 back down to, if I can scroll over. So that takes me back to $1,800 instead of the $4,500 that I started with. And that's perfectly fine. Again, I never would have been able to even think about giving that much money. To give $100 at one time would have been a total stretch for my brain. But to walk in faith, I think when you get to a point in your life where you can really walk in faith and trust the Lord that he's going to do what he says he's going to do, you just don't even question it. You don't even ask. I told the person, the Lord said, do it. This is what I'm doing. You figure out the rest of it. I mean, you already know the need that you have that needs and where that needs to be allocated. Live your best life. So I did that. And that was even more than than when me and the kids gifted another individual a few months ago. And that at that point was the largest that we had ever given. But this was I say it was a sacrifice, but honestly, I mean, you just have to understand, I didn't feel any type of way about it. I think the Lord is just using and asking for my obedience to do things. And he in turn returns. There's so many things he returns. That little bit that I gave, I mean, if I eat out, if the kids and I eat out, once a week, every week for 52 weeks, I've spent way more than that. I mean, if we eat out once a week for all year long, we've already spent more than what I would, what that's. So I have to chalk it up to obedience to God and just keep moving. Does that put me further away from my goal? Sure it does. But does that mean I won't ever reach my goal? It does not. It just means you slow and steady wins the race. Keep up the pace. Keep doing what you know to do. And it's all going to be okay. So there it is, you guys. That's the budget update as it stands. Today is June 17th. And we're just about all the way through we only have 13 more days of June, less than 2 weeks, and we're done. I did do that side job. I still haven't gotten paid from that yet, but I believe that those funds will come in and it'll be no problem. I was blessed this week. I was blessed with a, just a blessing. It just helped us out, anything helps us out. And so I'm just so overwhelmed by the Lord. More than anything, I guess if I have to nail home anything, this is the first summer that I'm going into my summer months, fully having all my grocery cards, the freezer and fridge, pantry, all that is stocked. The kids and I have no worries about whether we're going to have gas money or do we need to have grocery money. And I haven't even used all my coupons, but I got coupons in the mail this week. I got a cookbook in the mail this week. We've been able to do our Mediterranean challenges, no problem, and having all the finances to get the seafood that we normally don't buy, no problem. So things are just working out. It was such a blessing again to be able to sow into something that was needed. It was very sacrificial for me. At this point in the year, I am doing sacrificial offerings. I'm not just, tithing because I'm not getting paid. I'm done being paid until August, the end of August again. And so again, that's just one of those things. Now, I won't never tell anybody how to spend their funds. Please, you have to determine what's important to your family and you have to allocate your funds in that way. My kids and I, mom really, have decided or decide what's important. And then my kids just kind of fall in line. My kids are givers anyway. Alana would give you everything she had. And Jackson, he's like, Mom, I don't care. Just can I have one of these and you can have the rest? He's like, can I just have a soda at the grocery store and you can have the rest of my money? They just don't care. If I ask my older kids, hey, this is where I'm at and what I need, they're like, okay, Mom, I'm going to the bank. Or, okay, Mom, I'm on Chandon is the Cash App king. He's like, well, let me just Cash App you. And Shabika's like, I send you a PayPal. That's just, my kids go with Mom. They go with me, with what I want and what I feel and what I believe the Lord is leading us to do. And even my older kids, 30 and 24 years old, I can call them right now, today, in this moment and say, hey, this is what I feel the Lord is telling me. What you trying to do? And they're like, okay, Mom, I got you. And that's just more than money, that honor that they put on my decision making, even though they don't live here, that honor that they put on my word, or that honor that I tell them, listen, God's going to restore. He's going to return. Don't worry. If I say, y'all look back over where we've been and somebody got a need, now we need to make, and I don't go around just trying to find things for them to give to, but if I needed them to be there, they would be there. And so it has all worked out for our good. And I'm thankful for that. So anyway, there it is. Just wanted to share with you. I do have, I'm going to be starting to look into baby step number 4, which is some investing. I've got to find a company that I can believe in and trust in, and then find a few stocks that I can start to research to figure out what would be good to begin to start moving in that direction as I begin to work towards that baby step number 4, which is 15% of your income goes to your investment. So I do have that one Roth, but I'm looking at some mutual funds and some different things. So anywho, there it is, just the budget for this week. We will check back in with you guys next week and just share with you where we are on that. Hopefully it'll be a little bit closer to getting that curriculum for the kids, as I have already now put it into the sinking fund line items. So anyway, there it is. Thank you guys for joining. If you like the video, thumb it up. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.